Earth detected the strange radiation signatures 3 days before anyone acknowledged the truth. The unusual energy patterns appeared at the edge of the solar system, flickering like distant lightning beyond Neptune's orbit. Lisa Morgan stared at her monitor in NASA's Deep Space Tracking Facility, rubbing her tired eyes. The midnight shift was always quiet, but the anomaly on her screen demanded attention. "Hey Ben, come look at this," she called to her colleague. "These readings don't match anything in our database." Ben leaned over her shoulder, his coffee breath warm against her cheek. "Asteroid reflection. Maybe a solar flare." Lisa shook her head, moving too precisely. "And look at the radiation signature. It's artificial." She tapped keys, enhancing the image. The energy patterns showed deceleration. Controlled, purposeful deceleration. "I'm calling this in," she said, reaching for the secure line. Within hours, NASA Director Frank Wilson convened an emergency meeting. The room filled with bleary-eyed scientists and military personnel, all studying the projections on the main screen. "Whatever it is, it's slowing down near Jupiter," Wilson explained. "And it's massive, larger than anything we've ever constructed." Captain Alan Reeves of the Space Defense Force stood at the back of the room, his face grim. "How long until it reaches Earth orbit?" "At current velocity, 5 days," replied Lisa, who had been summoned to the meeting. "But that assumes it maintains course and speed." President Harris was briefed within the hour. By evening, an emergency global summit convened virtually with strict classified protocols. For the first time in decades, leaders of rival nations spoke without political posturing. "Could this be some secret project?" asked the Russian president. "Perhaps Chinese or American." China's leader shook his head. "We have nothing capable of this." The evidence became undeniable when the object changed course, executing a perfect gravitational slingshot around Jupiter that no human technology could manage. Telescopes across Earth focused on the region, capturing the first images. The vessel, there was no denying it was a vessel now, stretched nearly 12 miles from bow to stern. Its surface gleamed with an iridescent material unknown to Earth science. Smaller craft detached from its flanks, spreading throughout the outer solar system. "They're taking readings," Dr. Sam Baker, the nation's leading astronomer, explained to the president. "Analyzing our system." Captain Reeves deployed the few military satellites equipped for deep space observation. "They're methodical. This isn't random exploration. They're cataloging everything." Earth's militaries went to silent alert. Fighter pilots slept beside their aircraft. Missile silo crews received standby orders. Submarines slipped quietly to predetermined positions in the world's oceans, all while civilians remained unaware, going about their normal lives. 7 days after Lisa's discovery, the alien vessel established orbit around Mars. Earth held its breath. Then came the transmission. It began as interference across all broadcast frequencies. Television programs flickered. Radio stations crackled with static. Cell networks experienced momentary disruptions. Then the message appeared simultaneously on every digital screen on the planet. "People of Earth, the Galactic Empire acknowledges your civilization. Prepare for integration into the greater galactic community. Resistance is unnecessary. Integration is inevitable. Prepare for arrival." Panic erupted worldwide. Streets filled with frightened civilians. Religious leaders proclaimed end times. Markets crashed. Governments struggled to maintain order. In Washington, President Harris addressed the nation. "We face an unprecedented moment in human history. I have directed our military to take defensive positions only. We will attempt peaceful contact." But Captain Reeves, watching the massive ship now moving toward Earth, saw the truth in its approach vector. "They're not asking permission," he told the Joint Chiefs. "That's an invasion formation." The alien vessel would reach Earth orbit in 12 hours. Humanity's first contact would not be a diplomatic exchange, but a test of survival. Ambassador William Carter straightened his tie as the transport shuttle docked with the orbital platform. After 3 days of frantic preparations, Earth's hastily assembled diplomatic team was about to meet representatives of the Galactic Empire. "Remember the protocol," Carter whispered to his team. "No sudden movements. Follow my lead. We're here to listen first." The 5-person delegation included Carter, military advisor Colonel Patricia Dawson, Sinolinguist Dr. Nathan Rivera, physicist Ellen Gold, and UN Secretary General Okafor. Their mission: learn the Empire's intentions and buy Earth time. The airlock cycled open with a hiss. Carter led the team forward, maintaining a calm expression despite his racing heart. The alien delegation waited in the chamber beyond. Their leader stood nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. 4 arms emerged from a torso covered in what appeared to be ceremonial armor. The being's eyes, 3 of them, tracked the humans with unsettling precision. "I am High Commander Zex Toril," the alien announced in perfect English, voice of the Eternal Emperor, overseer of sector expansion, and your new Imperial Governor. Carter stepped forward. "Ambassador William Carter, representing the United Nations of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with your civilization." Zex Toril made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your welcome is appreciated but unnecessary. Integration is not a negotiation." The alien gestured to a holographic display that materialized in the center of the room. A 3-dimensional map of the galaxy appeared, with one section highlighted in pulsing red. "The Empire spans 17,000 star systems across 3 spiral arms," Zex Toril explained. "Your solar system lies within our designated expansion zone." Dr. Rivera studied the alien's mannerisms, whispering notes into his recorder. Colonel Dawson maintained a position slightly behind Carter, her eyes cataloging every detail of the aliens and their technology. "We understand you have a vast civilization," Carter replied carefully. "Earth would be interested in establishing diplomatic relations and cultural exchange." "Your misunderstanding is expected," Zex Toril said. "Allow me to clarify. Earth will become an imperial protectorate. Your industries will be restructured for resource extraction. Population centers will be consolidated. Military forces disbanded." Ellen Gold stepped forward. "And if we refuse these terms?" "Refusal is not an option available to pre-FTL civilizations," the alien replied. "The Emperor's decree is absolute. Those who resist integration require additional measures." Carter maintained his diplomatic composure, though his stomach nodded. "Surely a civilization as advanced as yours recognizes the right of self-determination." "An interesting primitive concept," Zex Toril said. "The Empire brings order, technology, and purpose. Some humans will be relocated to developed worlds for education and service. Your resources will support further expansion. It is the natural order." "We respectfully decline these terms," Carter said firmly. "Earth wishes to develop on its own path." For a moment, the alien's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "Fascinating. Most species understand their position immediately. Humans are somewhat unique in that regard," Secretary General Okafor interjected. Zex Toril touched a device on one wrist. "Your response is noted. The Empire grants Earth 30 planetary rotations to reconsider. Our surveys and preparations will continue during this period." "And after 30 days?" Colonel Dawson asked. "Necessary measures will be implemented." The alien's voice remained eerily calm. "Your leadership structures will be replaced, resistance points neutralized. The integration timeline will proceed." Carter stepped forward. "We will convey your message. But I must be clear. Earth will not surrender its sovereignty." "Your determination is noted, Ambassador." Zex Toril's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Many species demonstrate similar resolve before integration. None maintain it after experiencing imperial capabilities." The meeting concluded with the same clinical efficiency with which it began. As the Earth delegation returned to their shuttle, Colonel Dawson leaned toward Carter. "They're going to invade in 30 days, she whispered. Carter nodded grimly. "Then we have 29 days to prepare." The emergency United Nations session lasted 18 hours without breaks. For the first time in history, every nation voted unanimously on a resolution. Earth would stand united against the Galactic Empire. Ancient enemies set aside generations of conflict in the face of extinction. We have 28 days, President Harris told the assembled world leaders. Every resource, every scientist, every soldier must be committed to our defense. The Earth Defense Coalition formed that same day. Military command centers worldwide linked their systems. Scientists shared classified research freely. Factories converted to round-the-clock production of weapons and supplies. In an underground laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Olivia Martinez hunched over her computer, analyzing the alien transmission patterns captured during first contact. There's something strange about their communication frequency, she told her team, brushing a strand of hair from her tired eyes. It pulses in a pattern that matches no known algorithm. Her colleague, Dr. Ryan Park, leaned closer to the screen. Almost looks like brainwave patterns. Olivia's eyes widened. That's it. They're not using digital communications. They're using some form of telepathic amplification. Across the world in a Moscow command center, Colonel John Russell and General Yuri Petrov stood before a holographic display of Earth's orbital defenses. Your missile systems have good coverage of the northern approach, Petrov said, pointing to the display. But we need to integrate with our southern platforms. Russell nodded. My technicians are working with yours now. 20 years of treating each other as enemies, and now we're programming our weapons to work together. Petrov's weathered face showed a rare smile. Humanity is stubborn. The aliens will learn this soon. In Silicon Valley, engineer Kate Wilson led a team of physicists and programmers working to retrofit existing satellite systems. If Dr. Martinez is right about their telepathic tech, we might be able to jam it, she explained, sketching a diagram on the whiteboard. We need to broadcast on the exact counter frequency. A young programmer raised his hand. But we'd need to modify every major transmission system on Earth. Kate nodded grimly. That's exactly what we're going to do. Meanwhile, in basements and dormitories across the globe, a network of hackers coordinated by Danny Nguyen worked to infiltrate the alien systems. Their encryption is like nothing I've seen, Danny told his virtual team. But they're scanning our internet, which gives us a potential access point. A voice came through his headset. I found something. When they connect to our networks, there's a microsecond delay in their firewall. Danny's fingers flew across his keyboard. That might be all we need. In cities worldwide, civilians prepared emergency shelters. Farmers accelerated harvests. Medical supplies were stockpiled. Children practiced evacuation drills disguised as games to prevent panic. Ambassador Carter addressed the UN daily, sharing everything learned from continued communications with High Commander Zextoral. They're confident, he told the Security Council. They've done this hundreds of times to other worlds. They expect us to surrender within the week. The Security Council chair leaned forward. And our preparations. The Empire is monitoring our major military movements, Carter replied. But they seem to disregard our scientific efforts. They consider our technology primitive. Dr. Martinez's breakthrough came on day 7. Her team detected a pattern in the alien communications that human minds naturally disrupted. Our brainwaves are chaotic compared to theirs, she explained to the coalition leadership. Their telepathic systems can't properly process our neural patterns. It's like static to them. Kate Wilson immediately began reconfiguring the global satellite network. If we can broadcast amplified human neural patterns, we might jam their entire command structure. Colonel Russell looked skeptical. You're saying our best weapon is human thought? Precisely, Dr. Martins replied. Our unpredictability, our chaos. It's something their ordered minds can't process. For the first time since the aliens arrived, hope spread through the Coalition Command Center. They had found a weakness. The Imperial warning came without announcement on the 15th day. 3 smaller vessels detached from the main fleet and descended into Earth's atmosphere. Military installations worldwide tracked their approach, weapons locked, but holding fire per coalition orders. "They're testing our restraint," Colonel Russell told the Emergency Command Conference. "They want to see if we'll break the diplomatic standoff." The alien ships took position over 3 major cities, Beijing, Moscow, and Washington, D.C. for 30 minutes. They hovered silently. Global news networks broadcast live footage of the metallic craft gleaming against the blue sky. Then precision strikes began. Brilliant blue energy beams cut through the air, striking with surgical accuracy. In Washington, the Pentagon's East Wing erupted in flame. In Moscow, the Central Command bunker's surface structures collapsed. In Beijing, the military academy vanished in blinding light. The attacks lasted exactly 9 minutes. When they ended, only military targets had been hit. No civilian casualties were reported. High Commander Zex Toral's face appeared on screens worldwide immediately after. "People of Earth, today you witnessed a fraction of Imperial capability. These precision demonstrations targeted only military installations with minimal loss of life. This mercy is temporary. Your leaders continue resistance despite our generosity. 15 days remain for your planet to accept integration." President Harris stood before a hastily assembled press conference as smoke billowed from the Pentagon in the background. "We will not be intimidated," she declared, her voice steady despite the shock evident on her face. "This unprovoked attack only strengthens our resolve." In the aftermath, the Earth Defense Coalition activated their newly developed countermeasures. Kate Wilson's team had worked non-stop to retrofit satellites with Dr. Martinez's disruption technology. "The demonstration gives us an advantage," Kate told her exhausted team. "Now we know exactly how their weapon systems function." The coalition deployed 2 experimental defense satellites, positioning them in the projected path of the returning alien vessels. The plan was simple but desperate. Test the disruption technology on a small scale before committing to global deployment. As the 3 Imperial ships ascended from Earth's atmosphere, Coalition Command held their breath. "Activate disruption field," ordered General Petrov, his hand steady on the console. The satellites broadcast the specially modified human neural patterns directly at the alien vessels. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the nearest Imperial ship faltered, its smooth trajectory becoming erratic. The second ship slowed dramatically, its engines flickering. Only the third maintained course, accelerating toward the safety of their fleet. "It's working," Dr. Martinez exclaimed, watching the sensor data. "Their systems are being disrupted." The 2 affected Imperial vessels struggled visibly, their hulls emanating strange pulses of light. One began an uncontrolled descent back toward Earth before emergency systems finally stabilized it. Both ships limped away at reduced speed. High Commander Zex Toral's response came within the hour, his 3 eyes noticeably narrowed. "Your primitive countermeasures are noted. Such resistance only ensures a more comprehensive response. The Empire has subdued civilizations far more advanced than yours." But the Coalition analysts detected something new in the aliens' voice. Uncertainty. "They didn't expect us to disable their ships," Ambassador Carter told the Emergency Council. "Their previous conquests must have fallen quickly." Danny Nguyen's hacker collective had managed to briefly penetrate the alien communications during the confusion. "They're arguing among themselves," Danny reported. "The ship commanders are blaming each other for equipment failures. They don't realize it was our doing." Colonel Russell studied the tactical displays showing the Imperial fleet regrouping near the moon. "How quickly can we deploy the disruption technology globally?" he asked. Kate Wilson looked up from her calculations. 7 days for minimum coverage, 10 for optimal. Russell nodded grimly. "They'll attack before then. Their pride is wounded." Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "Then we accelerate deployment. Every hour matters now." For the first time, Earth had landed a blow against the seemingly invincible Galactic Empire. But everyone in the command center knew the real battle had only just begun. Dr. Olivia Martinez hadn't slept in 3 days. Empty coffee cups surrounded her workstation as she analyzed data from the successful disruption test. The other scientists had taken brief rest breaks. But Olivia remained fixated on her discovery. "There's something we're missing," she muttered, comparing brain scan patterns. The disruption worked better than our models predicted. She overlaid the neural patterns of 50 different humans against the recovered alien communication frequencies. A pattern emerged that made her sit up straight. "It's not just chaos," she whispered. "It's our diversity." She rushed to the main conference room, where coalition leaders were planning the global deployment. Without waiting for acknowledgement, she projected her findings onto the main screen. "The aliens use a standardized telepathic communication system," she explained, pointing to the uniform wave patterns. "Their minds work in perfect synchronization. But humans..." She switched to the human neural patterns, each wildly different from the next. "Our brains evolved for individual thought. We have 7 billion different neural patterns on this planet. It's not just static to them. It's cognitive dissonance on a scale they've never encountered." General Petrov leaned forward. "You're saying our greatest weakness, our inability to agree on anything, is actually our strength." "Exactly." Olivia nodded enthusiastically. "Their entire empire must function on consensus and uniformity. Earth's scattered governance, our cultural differences, our independent thinking. It all creates interference they can't filter out." Colonel Russell considered this. "Can we weaponize this advantage further?" "We already are," Kate Wilson interjected, joining the conversation. "My team has been modifying the disruption transmitters. Instead of broadcasting a single pattern, we're now sampling thousands of different human neural signatures simultaneously." She pulled up a global map showing deployment progress. "We've linked 63% of Earth's communication systems to our network. Satellites, cell towers, broadcast antennas, all reprogrammed to amplify our natural neural chaos." Danny Nguyen's face appeared on a side screen. "We've got movement. The Imperial fleet is mobilizing. Lots of smaller vessels breaking formation. They're preparing for a full invasion," Colonel Russell said grimly. "How much time do we have?" "Based on their approach vector, 18 hours, Danny replied. Kate checked her deployment timeline. "We need at least 22 hours for complete coverage." "Then we work with what we have," General Petrov said. "Direct all resources to protecting the disruption network. Nothing else matters." Ambassador Carter, who had been listening quietly, finally spoke. "I should attempt one more diplomatic contact. If they understand we can hurt them, they might reconsider. Or accelerate their timeline," Colonel Russell countered. "Either way, we gain information," Carter replied. As Carter established communication with High Commander Zextoral, Olivia made another breakthrough. "Look at this," she called to Kate, pointing at her screen. "The Imperial ships that didn't fail during our test. They were farther from Earth." Kate studied the data. "The disruption effect diminishes with distance." "No," Olivia shook her head. "The effect gets stronger the more human minds are nearby. The ship's overpopulation centers faced more disruption because millions of human brains were actively thinking below them." Kate's eyes widened. "We need to concentrate our defense at population centers." "And evacuate rural broadcast stations," Olivia added. "The aliens will target them once they realize what we're doing." In orbit, Imperial sensors detected the growing disruption network. Their initial probes encountered increasing interference as they approached Earth. Scout ships reported navigation system failures near major cities. High Commander Zextoral received Ambassador Carter's transmission with visible irritation. "Your resistance technologies are primitive adaptations that cannot withstand Imperial might," the alien declared. "But your species' ingenuity warrants special attention. The Emperor has authorized our full armada to ensure Earth's compliance." After the transmission ended, Colonel Russell addressed the coalition. "They're coming with everything they have. Our window just shortened." "The disruption network is at 78%, Kate reported. "We're rerouting through backup systems to speed deployment." On screens throughout the command center, sensors detected the approach of hundreds of Imperial vessels emerging from faster-than-light travel near Mars orbit. The full might of the Galactic Empire had arrived. The sky darkened as hundreds of Imperial vessels descended into Earth's atmosphere. They formed precise geometric patterns over every continent, perfect squares, triangles, and hexagons that demonstrated both their technological superiority and military discipline. From the Coalition Command Center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Colonel Russell watched the tactical displays with grim determination. "They're positioning for simultaneous strikes," he observed. Classic overwhelming force doctrine. The Imperial flagship remained in high orbit, a massive shadow passing across the moon. High Commander Zextoral's final message broadcast worldwide. "People of Earth, your resistance ends today. The full might of the Galactic Empire now surrounds your world. Surrender immediately, and civilian casualties will be minimized. Continue resistance, and we will reduce your cities to ash. You have 1 hour to dismantle all military systems." President Harris stood before the emergency United Nations broadcast, her face resolute despite the visible exhaustion. "We will not surrender. Humanity has faced extinction-level threats throughout our history: plagues, world wars, climate disasters, and each time we have survived through courage and determination. Today we face a threat from beyond our world, but our response remains the same. We stand together." In the final minutes before the Imperial deadline, Kate Wilson reported from the Disruption Network Control Center. "Global coverage at 92%. It's not perfect, but it's our best shot." Dr. Martinez monitored the neural pattern broadcasts. "The diversity algorithm is working. We're cycling through 10,000 different human brain patterns every second." General Petrov contacted military commands worldwide. "All units in defensive positions. Engage only when directly threatened. Our primary objective is protecting the Disruption Network transmitters." The hour passed. The Imperial fleet held position, their weapons systems glowing with building energy. "They're powering up," Danny reported from his monitoring station. "All ships simultaneously." Colonel Russell gave the order. "Activate the Disruption Network. Full power." Kate Wilson turned the activation key. Across the planet, thousands of transmitters, satellites, and communication towers began broadcasting amplified human neural patterns directly at the Imperial fleet. For several tense seconds, nothing happened. Then the first Imperial ship wavered in the sky over Tokyo. Another near Rio de Janeiro began drifting off formation. Above London, a vessel's weapons discharged prematurely into empty air. "It's working," Kate exclaimed. "Their systems are failing." But the disruption wasn't universal. Many Imperial ships maintained position and began their attack. Energy beams lanced downward, striking military bases, power plants, and communication centers with devastating precision. 57% of their fleet showing system failures, Danny reported. The rest are compensating somehow. The ground shook as nearby explosions rocked the mountain complex. Emergency lights flashed throughout the command center. "They've located this facility," Colonel Russell announced calmly. "Evacuate to secondary positions." As coalition personnel rushed to relocate, Dr. Martins noticed a pattern in the attacking ships. The vessels still functioning. "They're maintaining distance from population centers," she observed. "The disruption effect is stronger where more humans are thinking." Colonel Russell immediately contacted ground forces worldwide. "Direct all available units to defend city centers. Draw Imperial forces into dense population areas." It was a desperate strategy, placing civilians at risk to maximize the disruption effect. But city evacuation protocols had already moved millions to underground shelters. The battle intensified over the next hours. Imperial ground forces deployed from landing craft, their tall blue figures moving with mechanical precision through ruined streets. They encountered fierce resistance from combined Earth military units fighting with desperate courage. In Moscow, General Petrov led defense forces in holding the central city against waves of Imperial troops. In Virginia, Colonel Russell coordinated attacks against landed Imperial vessels. Kate Wilson's team worked frantically to strengthen the disruption network as Imperial forces targeted transmission centers. For every transmitter destroyed, they were routed through backup systems. By nightfall, the situation appeared grim. Though many Imperial ships had been disabled or forced to retreat, their ground forces established footholds in major cities. The disruption network operated at reduced capacity as transmitters were systematically destroyed. The dawn of the third day broke over a changed Earth. Smoke rose from battle zones across the planet, yet Imperial forces found themselves in unexpected retreat. What had begun as a certain victory for the Galactic Empire had transformed into their first defeat in thousands of years. The turning point came during the night, when Dr. Martins made her final breakthrough. Their command structure is completely telepathic, she told Colonel Russell as they huddled in a backup facility beneath Seattle. The longer they're exposed to our neural patterns, the more their coordination degrades. Imperial ground troops that had moved with perfect synchronization on the first day now appeared confused and disorganized. Some fired on their own units. Others simply stood motionless, overwhelmed by the neural static. Kate Wilson's disruption network, though damaged, had achieved critical mass. Even with 30% of transmitters destroyed, the effect had become self-sustaining as billions of human minds unconsciously amplified the disruption. They're trying to reconnect with their fleet, Danny reported, monitoring Imperial communications. But they can't maintain stable telepathic links through our disruption field. The Imperial flagship, recognizing the crisis, began recalling functional vessels to orbit. The retreat was happening. Captain Alan Reeves, who had first responded to the alien arrival weeks earlier, now led a daring mission. With a small team of Special Forces operators, he infiltrated an Imperial landing craft that had touched down near Washington, D.C. The neural disruption is stronger inside their vessels, he reported over secure channels. Their crew can barely function. His team captured the craft with minimal resistance and managed to pilot it toward the Imperial command ship using navigation systems Danny's hackers had partially decoded. The boarding of High Commander Zex Toral's flagship would later be recorded as one of the most audacious military operations in human history. Captain Reeves' team, broadcasting amplified neural patterns from portable devices, moved through the massive vessel encountering only disoriented resistance. They found High Commander Zex Toral in the ship's central command chamber, surrounded by incapacitated officers. The once imposing alien leader appeared physically ill, his blue skin pale and his 3 eyes unable to focus. "Your species," he struggled to speak as Captain Reeves approached. "Impossible. The Empire has never." "Earth is different," Reeves replied simply, "and we're not interested in becoming part of your empire." Within hours, Imperial forces worldwide received orders to stand down. The remaining functional ships retreated to high orbit. For the first time, the Galactic Empire prepared to negotiate rather than demand. Ambassador Carter led the Earth delegation aboard the Imperial flagship, where a weakened but still dignified Zex Toral awaited. "The Emperor requires explanation for this failure," the alien commander stated. "No pre-FTL civilization has ever repelled Imperial integration." "Humanity doesn't fit your standard models," Carter replied. "Our strength lies in our diversity and independence." The treaty that followed established terms unprecedented in Imperial history. Earth would remain permanently independent, marked in galactic charts with the designation No Entry, a warning to all Imperial forces that the planet was not to be approached. In exchange, humanity agreed not to export their neural disruption technology beyond the solar system. Both sides recognized the potential devastation if such weapons spread throughout the galaxy. As Imperial ships departed Earth orbit one by one, celebrations erupted worldwide. Former enemies embraced in streets still bearing battle scars. The planet had united as never before. In the new Global Security Council chamber, Colonel Russell addressed the assembled leaders. "We've won our independence, but we've also announced our presence to the galaxy. The Empire isn't the only power out there." Dr. Martinez presented her latest findings. The disruption technology can be adapted for communication. We might find allies among other species resisting imperial control. President Harris surveyed the United Representatives of Earth. For the first time in human history, we truly stand as one world. Our differences, which we once sought as weaknesses, proved to be our salvation. Outside the council chamber, citizens worldwide began the work of rebuilding. Earth had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just surviving, but victorious. The path forward would include new technologies, new alliances, and eventually, humanity's own steps into the wider galaxy. But one thing was certain: Earth would enter the galactic community on its own terms, not as a conquered world, but as a force to be respected. The sign was clear to all interstellar travelers.